Hi folks, Seth here. Thanks for watching my monologue. In these uncertain times, you may be thinking about personal protection. If you are, I urge you to visit my friends at Guns Etc. They'll help you find the perfect protection for yourself and your family, and they can even teach you how to use it. They've been protecting Arizonans for over 33 years, and they stand for the great principles this country was founded upon. Or you can just click on gunsetc.com. And if you like my monologues, please subscribe to 960 The Patriots YouTube channel. Welcome back, and happy November 5th, 2020. I love how Steve Hayward put it. Dude, where's my landslide? Here's a sampling of headlines we had from the last couple of months. A Biden landslide. Joe Biden is posed for a landslide win. Biden landslide creeps into view. Prepare for a Biden landslide. Could Democrats pick up 13 seats in the Senate? Well, it's a heck of a landslide for Biden, isn't it? To remind, I still think Trump can win. I think he will win. So please don't give up hope or optimism. But if you do, let me give you the worst case scenario as I see it. A President Biden will have a very hard time governing. His staff will be far left. That's always the case with staff. They are usually more extreme than the president, true believers in the cause, often ideologues. That is the Democratic Party today, and explains why Joe Biden himself has been unrecognizable at times, just lying about his record to appease the left, at times flip-flopping on issues to appease the left, at times lying to the media and voters to appease them while trying to remain and maintain his curried favor with the left, which he depended on. There was no other reason for him to have picked Kamala Harris than that. None. He didn't need her for California, and if racial diversity was truly important for the Democrats, then everything they said about race and Republicans can be seen for what it is, a lie. But recall, the Democrats, truly believe racial minorities are all on their side, so that could not have been the reason to pick Harris. It was the signal she sent to the left as the most leftward member of the Senate. Biden himself is looking worse and worse by the day, not fully in control of himself, smiling at awkward moments and scripted speeches he's reading, confusing his granddaughter for his deceased son earlier in the week, confusing his deceased son's biography and resume with someone else we're not quite sure of. This will be a presidency that will at best look like a bad joke in its early days, worse than electing Chauncey Gardner. I say early days because I suspect everything the Democrats brought up about the 25th Amendment with Donald Trump could very well come back to haunt them among their own. It will be a presidency run by the chief of staff, along with perhaps Dr. Jill Biden. The odd thing is how far removed Kamala Harris is from the scene, isn't it? She was historic, we were told. She was historic, we were attempted to be sold. How much have you seen of her in the last 3 weeks or 3 months? How much have you heard from her in the last 3 weeks or 3 months? Something very odd there. But I'm guessing there's a very tight-knit crowd around Joe Biden that is trying to use Kamala Harris but not bring her in. If she was so historic and important after all, why not put her out more in public? My point, look for divisions, big ones, between the vice president and the president if Joe Biden wins. Remember, big if. But to those who are not upbeat right now, consider that. Sign 2 or 3 of an immediately failed and problematic presidency. Now remember, the Senate was maintained by Republicans, and it's going to be mighty difficult to get any meaningful Democratic or left-wing legislation through the Senate. And with our superstars there, from Josh Hawley to Ted Cruz to others, they will be making great cases to the American people. Now recall, too, while we have the Senate, we have a great Supreme Court as well. Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, and Barrett, they're all worth their weight in gold. Now add Kavanaugh on occasion and John Roberts on occasion. And recall all the great judges on the federal benches that Donald Trump gave us. Our judiciary has rarely in history been in better hands. Truly, it's hard to think of a better set of court circumstances than we have right now at the federal level. And if Republicans play the game Democrats played with any possible appointees that could come with a Biden presidency, then Republicans will vote no or not show up for the confirmation hearings. That's the rule now, right? That's how we do this now? Qualifications don't matter for judges and justices. Party does. That's what we were taught last month, wasn't it? That and high school yearbooks. The other good news, should Biden attain the presidency, COVID will be over as an issue. Just look how well we're already doing. When's the last time you saw screaming or panic-inducing headlines about it? I predicted that would all quell and calm after November 3rd. I see no sign of being wrong. Already, the CDC told those sick with COVID, not exposed, sick with COVID, that it was okay for them to go out into the community, go out of their homes, and stand in line and vote in person. The truth is, Joe Biden as president will want a good economy, and that would be just encouragement to not push for more shutdowns. So I think shutdowns will be over, even in blue states, as the point would be to give a Democratic president as good an economy as possible. And to date, I have no idea what Joe Biden could or would do differently than Donald Trump on this matter anyway. He hasn't told us. It was an issue to be demagogued. It cost a lot of life and a lot of money, and that is to the shame of the Democrats. But it will be over, and repair can begin. Race, racism, and racialism in America, or at least the blaming of America for being racist and stirring of racialism, will quell and calm as well. That was ginned up because of the very presence of a Republican in the White House. That was lied about because of a Republican in the White House. And consider where the American people are on this and what we will be prepared for as a party going forward. Let me quote Josh Hammer. 26% of Trump's voting share came from non-white voters, the highest percentage for a GOP presidential candidate since 1960. In Florida's Miami-Dade County, the heartland of Cuban America, Trump turned a 30-plus point Hillary Clinton romp in 2016 into a narrow single-digit Joe Biden victory. Texas's Starr County, overwhelmingly Mexican-American and positioned in the heart of the Rio Grande Valley, barely delivered for the Democrats. Biden's Hispanic support in other key swing states like Ohio and Georgia tailed off from Clinton's 2016 benchmarks. Overall, exit polls indicate that 32 to 35% of Latinos voted for the president. And young black men are gravitating to the GOP at a remarkable pace, given the baseline as well. Turns out that minorities aren't so infuriated with the brand of unrepentant progressive wokeism now peddled by the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wing of the Democratic Party. The political, legal, media, corporate, and academic establishments have gone all in on the woke agenda, peddling a toxic brew of intersectionality, socialism, light, and Black Lives Matter anarchism. Latinos and many blacks aren't buying it. As one Twitterer quipped, Democrats may have won the Latinx vote, but they didn't fare well with the actual Latinos. Speaking of the Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wing of the Democratic Party, that wing will overreach. Drunk with thinking they are the mandated power by the outcome scenario where Biden wins the presidency, they will overreach. That itself is a funny thing to say because they've been overreaching already in their rhetoric. It will be worse. They will be louder if Biden wins. And America doesn't want it. If it did, a potential Biden win would not have come with such a razor-thin margin. If Biden wins, think about the position of the American people. There will be rule by a lot of executive order, and it will be left-wing executive order, again, because the Senate. It will make people pine for the Carter presidency, much less a reinvigorated Republican Party, with some great candidates in the offing. Spend some time watching and listening to Ron DeSantis of Florida. He's incredible. There are others. I'm a Trump fan. You know that. But think of what Trump taught so many other potential Republican presidents about how hard the left resists and how entrenched it is in Washington. That education was extremely valuable, and younger Republicans who defended Trump have taken note and been well educated. They were shown the opposition and how tough it is, and more importantly, how important it is to fight it, if not eliminate it. Donald Trump didn't have that luxury. He learned about it on the job and taught us all what he and we had to learn. If Biden wins, we go in 2024 with a great advantage. And we take 2024 in a way we probably wouldn't have been able to if Trump was reelected under a Biden victory scenario, given how hard it is to win 3 consecutive presidencies in one party. And long and short, if Joe Biden wins, think how much easier our job will be teaching and exposing the theoretical problems of today's Democratic Party, of socialism. To date, it's been trying to translate their words and desires. That's been our effort to date. If Biden wins, we won't have been believed, of course, but if he wins, the theoretical of what we've been saying will be actualized and witnessed in real time. And people here won't want it. They will not like it. In other words, if Biden wins, 2024 will not be a close election. All those Democrats we're told who don't think it's a AOC, Harris, Sanders party, who cling to some romance of yesterday's Democratic Party, they'll see. They'll see what we've been saying. And perhaps then we can finally put the nail in the coffin of not just the creeping socialism we've warned about, but the creepy socialism we've warned about. In other words, to close with the words of Ronald Reagan, words he closed one of his most famous speeches with. He said, "I believe socialism is another sad, bizarre chapter in human history, whose last pages, even now, are being written. I believe this because the source of our strength in the quest for human freedom is not material, but spiritual. And because it knows no limitation, it must terrify and ultimately triumph over those who would enslave their fellow man. For in the words of Isaiah, he giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might he increased strength. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary." So win or lose, this odd game being played out before our eyes, we win. And by we, I mean freedom. Because freedom should always win. I'm Seth Leibson. We'll be right back.